Welcome to episode 30 of The Player and the Journalist with Carson Harris and David Vick. In this episode, we will discuss the inclusion of lacrosse in the 2028 Olympics, predict who will be on Team USA's roster, and discuss the recent Fall Classic. It's been a minute, but we are finally back, okay? Carson Harris, welcome back. It's episode 30. Big number, okay?
Wow, even number. You gotta love even numbers.
And also, not to foreshadow some of what we're going to talk about, but women do not like to turn 30, okay? From my understanding, women do not like to turn 30. And we are going to talk about a few people that might be 30 when the Olympics roll around in 2028. So if they listen, I am sorry in advance, okay?
Oh no. Oh no. Yeah, been a while, but there hasn't been a lot happening in the lacrosse world, so it's good to be back.
Ish, yep. It's good to be back. We have some pretty much all the big stuff that has happened we're going to talk about. So we're going to get all caught up right here, right now. And we are going to start with lacrosse in the 2028 Olympics. What were your initial thoughts when you heard that we're going to the big dance?
Well, I'm really excited. I'm really excited for all of those athletes that are going to get a chance to play lacrosse in the Olympics. I think it's a really huge thing for the sport. And I also think it was at the perfect time. Like, I think honestly, introduction any earlier than this, it wouldn't have been fun to watch. Like, the US was kind of just a dominant force. We were the only ones like with any sort of substance happen. I don't think it would have been as like exciting, and it would have fallen back out, I think, pretty quickly. So I'm really excited about the timing on it, to be honest, because I think like the US has been challenged in like the Sixes games. We lost to Canada and we ended up beating them in the championship, but like we lost to them in regular play, and like I think we lost to them for the gold. Anyway, there's teams out there that are challenging us now as a country. So I think it's a very good opportunity, a good time to do it, especially in 5 years, because it'll only grow.
For sure. I think it'll be interesting. So obviously I'm also happy about it. It's good for the sport to be in the Olympics. I did see something funny that it was about the men's lacrosse team, the men's USA lacrosse team, that the tryouts are going to be super competitive because they're all going to be wanting to get on Tinder in the Olympic Village.
Fair enough, dude. I don't know what the crazy things happen in that Olympic Village, in the athlete village.
That just cracked me up. Anyway, that's a side note. So you mentioned that it's the first time it'll be in the Olympics. So I'm looking at the USA Lacrosse magazine. And so lacrosse was a medal sport in 1904 in St. Louis and 1908 in London. So way before our lifetimes. And then it was a demonstration sport in 1928, 1932, and 1948. So it'll be interesting. I'm kind of curious if it'll stay in the Olympics, because the Olympics are in Los Angeles for 2028. It's in America, and lacrosse is biggest in America. Sure. And so, I mean, in 1904 in St. Louis, that's in America. One of the times it was a demonstration sport. 1932 in LA again. So I'm curious if it'll stay in the Olympics, or this is kind of a one and done type of deal. Hopefully it'll stay, but that'll be interesting to see. And the 2032 Olympics are in Brisbane, Australia. Fun fact, I looked that up. So
well, then that could stay. I think that's another country that I think like will have some sort of success. So I feel like that is promising. I do think it'll depend on how it goes. Like, I think if the US just runs over people and it doesn't get a lot of viewers, then like I don't think it probably will stay, which is fair. Like I love that lacrosse is in it, but it's a business as well. So I can understand like them taking it out if it doesn't do what it's supposed to do revenue wise.
For sure. It'll be interesting. I think the one thing I will say, I am not thrilled about it being sixes. I am just not a fan of sixes personally. I think I understand why it's sixes. It's smaller rosters, more countries can participate. It's less travel expenses for countries flying over. So I understand why. Sixes has only been around for what, 2 or 3 years now, if that. I mean, it's barely been around. And so every time I watch it, I'm not a huge fan. I think I'll be honest, I get a little stuck in my ways when it comes to, I feel lacrosse right now, field lacrosse at the college level is the best lacrosse has ever been. And so I'm disappointed that we're not putting that on display for the world to see, and that we're doing sixes. Like I said, I get why, but I prefer it'd be like the college game. So what are your thoughts on that?
I kind of like it though, because I think it evens the playing field significantly. Like, I think that if we were playing the field game, if we were playing the college game out there, then like I'm not sure it would be that fun to watch, because you'd have to have 11 people from every country that can play, and that's like, or 12 people, have 12 people on the field. Sorry, I get soccer and lacrosse.
Come on, Karson.
I always had to count. Like my entire college career, I had to count because I always get them mixed up. Because soccer's 10 and a goalie, and lacrosse is 11 and a goalie, and so I just always get them mixed up. Anyway, I think that it's going to help make the game a lot more competitive, which I think will help keep it in the Olympics. I think in the long term it could actually be beneficial for us. But I do think that you won't see like America's best lacrosse, if that makes sense. Like I think we could put out a team of 11 and be pretty amazing to watch. But I think because every country can't do that, then the sixes makes it a lot more competitive.
I agree. I think that's true. It'll also be interesting because to this point, for at least Team USA for the sixes, it hasn't been our best players. No offense to the players that have been on the sixes. Like if you go back to, so in 2022, we had the World Championships and it was mostly college players for the sixes. So we had the 2022 Women's Lacrosse World Championships, and then like right after that in Birmingham, Alabama was the sixes. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. And it was a lot of our younger. It was like the younger generation of players.
And then recently we had the sixes in Canada, the sixes event in Canada, which only had 4 teams. So I don't really put a lot of stock into that. And so we had more, like we had Lizzie, Colson, we had Dempsey, Arsenal, but then we still had players that aren't on the USA national team, which I do think it's a little bit of a different skill set. So I get that. So I'm just curious to see how the team will shape up, because you got to believe that every women's lacrosse player is going to want to be in the Olympics, whether it's sixes or not sixes.
Yeah, but I do think that you highlighted something important when you said it's a different skill set, like, which I think kind of plays into some of my answers, like when we to foreshadow later. I think like there's no breaks. Like that is full sprints for however long the halves are. Like that's intense, and that takes a lot of endurance and a lot of speed. And I think like that could be why you saw it like being a younger generation of players, because they're the ones that like can keep up with that level of intensity, because that's a tough level of intensity to keep up with. So I do think that could also play into part of it, is like partly it's a good transition program, right, to like start, because the US team's been the US team for so long, like those girls have been on the team for so long, that it's kind of a nice like intro, I think, to the US team to try to like start to grow those girls to be 11v11 US women's lacrosse players, but then also a skill set. I think it's probably a combination of both of those things.
Yeah, and I do like it that it's been different players to this point, because I mean it's good to give different players opportunities so we don't have to see the same players over and over. But those tryouts are going to be so competitive. I know like we had the box tryouts recently, but no, I mean, to win an Olympic medal, that's something everyone is those tryouts are going to be competitive. There might be a fight. I'm just joking. There's not going to be a fight, but it's going to be competitive. So that'll be good.
Yeah, no, it will. That'll be fun. I mean, I'll be very curious to see like what kind of, like what players they build. You'll be able to tell what kind of team they're building from the players that they keep, I feel like.
Yeah. And so let's see. One other thing I was going to add. So at the Women's World Lacrosse Championship in 2022, there were 29 teams. So that's a lot of teams playing the full field. And so I'm interested to see how many teams will enter the Olympics. I don't know how the qualifying process is going to be. So it'll be interesting to see, but if there better be more than 29 teams in the Olympics, because if we're not doing more than 29 teams, then what was the point of not doing full field, in my opinion? So
that's true, I guess, like, because those were able to get 29 teams there.
Right. But I don't know if it's going to be 29 teams though, because that's a lot of teams. So
that is a lot. I'm surprised actually that they were able to get 29 11v11 teams there.
Yeah, and I mean, if you look at World Lacrosse, like they say it's lacrosse is played in 100 countries worldwide right now, but just because it's played in 100 countries doesn't mean 100 countries have national teams. So it'll
Yeah.
be interesting. So I don't think there are going to be 29 teams because that's a lot of teams to have in the Olympics. I don't think there'll be that many teams. But it'll also be interesting to see the format as far as like I don't even know. I think in most sports in the Olympics there's a group stage and then some teams get eliminated. So it'll probably be like that. So it'll be interesting to see.
Yeah. Yeah, I bet it'll be like 4 groups and then like the top 2 from each group make it out, and then it's like a 4 groups of 4 maybe or something. I don't know.
Yeah, all I know is if we don't see Carson Harris on the American team, I'm not watching.
Karson Harris will be fat and slow by 2028. That is not training as an athlete anymore.
You and Katie Hogue can get the whole graduate student training process going on. So
yeah, yeah, we'll be the I'll be the PT. I'll be the U.S. Women's PT.
hey, that would be pretty cool.
That would be. They probably don't have the budget for that. I can't imagine. I can't imagine they have a whole medical staff. I mean, I'm sure they have like doctors and things, but I doubt they have an actual. I don't know. Maybe
you could volunteer for free. It's in America, so it's not like you have to travel very far.
Right, just go to LA. I'll send them an email. Be like, if you're looking for a PT in 5 years, I'll be one. I'll have 2 years experience, but
it'd be like, yo, Charlotte North, get over here. I got to stretch that leg out real quick, okay?
yeah. Oh,
awesome. So, sticking with Team USA, we are now going to yay or nay. So we finally have a name for the segment with our yes or no buttons. It is yay or nay, and that we are going to predict, Karson and I, who will or will not be on Team USA's Olympic roster come 2028. And keep in mind now, this is 5 years in the future. So don't you dare come at us and say, oh, you're hating on this player. Oh, this is bullcrap. Guess what? It's 5 years from now. A lot can happen in 5 years. Okay. Don't want to hear it. Anyways, Karson, we are going to start with you. Okay. Are you ready?
Okay. I'm ready.
Are you ready to rumble? Okay. Our first, so we have 8 players and then we have a bonus. Okay. First player, Charlotte North. Carson's answer as to whether or not she will be on the Olympic roster is
yes. So girly. Yes. Yeah, I think that my answer is yes. And I think it's because like you have to take a step back and look at, I think for when you're looking at 5 years in the future, the best thing that I could do is see like how big of lacrosse, how much are they in the lacrosse world? Like Charlotte North, does she have the longevity to be doing lacrosse as her job for, I know a lot of them have like secondary jobs and not, but a lot of them are like doing promos, doing clinics, like they are in the lacrosse world. And that honestly, that's where my answer came for Charlotte North, because I think that she is going to be such a huge person in the lacrosse world for at least another 5 years. Like she's not going anywhere. And I mean, she's A, an incredibly talented player, but B, the most known women's lacrosse player probably ever. And so why would you not put her on the team simply for the promo and the looks? So I think like yes, do her skill sets match sixes perfectly? I'm not sure. I think that could be interesting to watch her play sixes. But I think without a doubt she's on the team simply because of who she is and the star that she is.
Okay, I gotta be honest. I have never agreed with Karson more in my life. In my life. Okay. I totally agree that she is the biggest star in the sport. And so why would you not have her on the team? Okay. That's just a big splash. You want her on the team for the promo, like you said. I also completely agree. I don't think her skill set perfectly matches sixes. If you think about Charlotte North in the college game, what made her so great? It was the 8-meter. That was the promo. That was the highlight reel of Charlotte North every game. Yeah, she was great and she went like 1-on-3, 1-on-4, stuff like that. But it was the 8-meter that was really just the crazy part of her shot, and the long range, the distance shots. Mm-hmm. I feel like in sixes, what I've seen so far is they get in pretty close. Or I mean, they'll take shots from the outside, but the shots are coming from closer than the college game or the professional game. So it'll be interesting. I think she will be on the team, but I will be interesting to see what her role is if her game does not evolve, because she's also not the fastest player. She's not like Dempsey Arsenal lightning fast. Of course, not many people are, but she's not the fastest player. And I feel like you think of sixes and you think of speed. So it'll be interesting to see Charlotte North. Awesome.
I agree.
Okay, next up, we're going to college. Madison Taylor, midfielder at Northwestern. Will she be on the Olympic roster? My answer is yes. There you have it. Exactly how I said it in my mind. Okay. So Madison Taylor, she was just a true freshman last year at Northwestern, and she was one of the best midfielders in America. She was a top 5 midfielder. Okay, she's got really good speed for her size, because she's pretty tall. She's got great speed. She plays both sides of the ball, and that's, at least if I'm building the Sixers roster, I want someone who's a two-way midi, because you got to play both sides, and middies can run for days. Okay, they're not like on attack and they're getting gassed. Okay, no offense to the attackers. Okay, they're all in pretty good shape in college. So let's just be honest. But middies, they have to go back and forth. If she was a top 5 midfielder in the country as a true freshman, and she still has 3 more years under Kelly Amonte Hiller, she's already a national champion. I mean, and also think about this. So we talked about Charlotte North in 5 years. So for Madison Taylor, she has 3 more years of college lacrosse, and then she'll only be 2 years removed. So she can either be playing Athletes Unlimited or she might not be. But that's only 2 years after she's done playing lacrosse in college. So I think if she stays healthy, she's a lock, in my opinion.
I agree. I see where you're. I think this one is really hard, because like your path in college as an athlete could be so many different directions, and she has so long to go. Like, I don't want to like jinx. I'm not going to say anything, because I don't want her like anything horrible to happen to her. But I think like a lot of things can happen between your freshman year and your senior year that can hinder your performance. Similarly, that it can help it, but I think that those can go both ways. And I also feel like, so I think I said no on this one when I was thinking about it, because she's not as obvious of a yes for me, because she has so like long to go. So I think it could go like both ways. Like she could just like grow and grow and grow and grow and be amazing, and then just be this amazing player that is able to do all of it. Or like she peaked, like no, I don't think she peaked, because I don't think she'd be at Northwestern and have peaked her freshman year. Like, there's so much more learning and growing to do there. But I think that, I don't know, I hesitate with her only a little bit, because she has 3 years of school left, and that could hurt her, I think, as much as it could help her.
Interesting. I mean, that's what makes this fun, right? We really
really don't know.
And also for like the professional players, they could start families, they could have kids, they could, a lot of things could happen with them as well that might make them either want to do it or not want to do it, or schedule conflicting. So
I agree. That's why I was such a yes on like Charlotte North, because I'm like, she like lacrosse is her life, like her world, I feel like.
Right. Yeah, she's one of the few that's doing lacrosse full time. We will now move on to the third player on our list. Karson Harris, can you tell the audience who the third player is before we reveal your answer?
Yes, it is Marie McCool.
Okay, Marie McCool, the All-American woman, okay. UNC national champion. She's been on Team USA forever. I mean, like forever. Okay.
Ever, yeah.
So anyways, Charlotte North's answer. Karson Harris's answer on Marie McCool being on the Olympic roster is no. Ooh, why you gotta be so aggressive with there, Karson?
That was an aggressive no. I just think 5 years is a long time, like you've said. Like she's still one of the fastest players probably out there. Like, she is literal speed, and she is a hustler, and she is aggressive. And I think like all of the reasons that she's been on the U.S. team for so long are still true. But I think like she's getting up there. Like, I don't know. Maybe yes, but in my opinion, I think in 5 years, like she'll, because she's kind of at the age of like the Kayla Trainer, Taylor. What's her name?
Taylor Cummings?
Yeah. She's kind of like up in that area, I feel like, and they're all starting to retire. So I just feel like 5 years is a push for Marie McCool. I think I could see her as a coach, honestly. I could see her as like a second assistant or something because I think her like skill set would be perfect there. So I could see her like providing her help, but just maybe not on the field, maybe as a second assistant or something.
So this is interesting because initially I had no for Marie McCool as well. But then I saw that you had yes for her, which turned out to be a mistake. So then I changed mine to yes because I started thinking about it more. And now you're back to no, and I'm still with yes. Okay.
That's
so
funny.
You mentioned her age, which is totally valid. So she graduated from UNC in 2018, which usually are 22 if you graduate in 4 years. So by my calculations, she will be 32 in 2028, which is not very old. I mean, in lacrosse, well, specifically women's lacrosse, you have some guys in their 30s playing for men's lacrosse, but specifically for women's lacrosse, players usually retire pretty early unless it's a Katrina Dowd, Michelle Tumalo. Not many players go into their 30s. However, she's for the next 5 years in her mind, she's going to be having that. If she really wants to be in the Olympics, that should be driving her for the next 5 years.
Yeah, but she did just get married.
She did get married. Yes.
That could be a plot twist in the lacrosse, how much lacrosse matters in her life.
That is true. But keep in mind, her husband, he played lacrosse at Syracuse, and then he was a professional for a little bit. So, I mean, it's like a lacrosse family, you know?
No, it's lacrosse family, but 2 kids in 5 years would be a tough thing to come back and play sixes out of.
I mean, Blake Lively, she's had a bunch of kids, and she looks perfect. She looks like she hasn't had any.
Yeah, but she's not running around. She's not asked to do 100-yard sprints everywhere. No, I mean, she's still a beast, so she could absolutely play in 5 years. I just don't know if that will be her, like, I don't know her mindset enough.
Who knows?
Yeah.
Never know. Also, Blake Lively was just in my mind because I saw something about her in the news. It was something like, she's had such and such kids, and she looks like she hasn't had any. So that's why it was in my mind. So, so Marie McCool, at first, I thought no because of the age, but then I thought, like, you're going to want someone, if not multiple players on the team that are leaders and that have been on the world stage. And even if she's on the team and she doesn't play a lot or she's not a starter, she could still be a leader on the team. So that's where I was going with that. So for her leadership, I was thinking she'll be on the team, but you never know. So, okay. Well, hey, listen, we're gonna stop hedging our bets, and we're just gonna give you yes or no answers, and we're gonna stick with them for the next 5 years. Okay. There's no more, well, this could happen, this could happen. We're gonna tighten it up here. Okay. Now, next up, we have Stony Brook's Ellie Masera. My answer on yes or no is,
well, yes.
Not as girly of an answer as Karson's yes, but a little girly. So, I think Ellie Masera. So I've seen her play sixes. I'm not sure if she was on the team that went to Birmingham or not. I feel like she might have been. But I've seen her. Yeah, I've seen her play sixes, and I feel like she is sixes personified. I mean, she is the younger, newer version of Allie Kennedy. And Allie Kennedy represents sixes perfectly as well, in my opinion. And so Ellie Masera, she plays both ways. She is fast. She is quick. She is cat quick. Okay. She is insane. So if Ellie Masera is not on the team, that will blow my mind. Because she, like I said, everything about her game, I feel like you could put her into the sixes and it's just going to get elevated because everything in sixes is just lacrosse enhanced. It's magnified because the field is smaller, it's quicker, your stick skills got to be money, your passing's got to be money, your shooting's got to be, everything's got to be money, okay, if you want to be the best. And so Ellie Masera, I think she's probably one of the easiest yeses I have on my list.
I agree with you. I think Stony Brook's been breeding Sixes players for as long as I can remember. I feel like this is just the style they play, like that quick and dirty, get the ball in the back of the net as fast as you can. No, I just mean like this, just like everything is so concentrated and they're all so small and fast. Like I just feel like, or they're strong and small and fast. Like I just feel like they've been breeding these players forever. So I agree. The only reason I said no to her is because I feel like she loves lacrosse, but I could see her going on with her life. The only reason, sorry, that's not, my answer is yes. I could see her going and doing things with her life outside of lacrosse, which is where I would hesitate. But I think my answer is yes for her as well, because I agree with you. She does personify what a Sixes player would be.
Fair. Also, just when you said that Stony Brook has been breeding Sixes players, I thought that came to mind was they have a bunch of like 5'2", 5'3" players and they're all squatting like 1,000 pounds. I mean, have you seen their legs? They're freaking strong. Okay. They are ripped. What they're whatever they're doing in their weight department, other teams need to copy. Okay. Let's see. Who is next? We have Chloe Humphrey. Is that mine or yours?
Mine.
Yours? Okay. And your answer is?
Yes.
I always get that one.
The yeses are like very short and simple, and the no's are very long, elongated. So
yeah. I think she's a yes for me. And I for some reason, this is different than Madison Taylor, and I'm not sure why, because she's also a freshman. Like she could also have a lot happen. But she's a phenomenal player. I mean, I just watched her in that fall classic, and I was like, I don't know who number 2 is, but that girl is fun to watch. And then I was like, then I asked you, and you were like, yeah, that's Chloe Humphrey. And I was like, yeah, that's what I thought, because she is just fun to watch, and she's so good. And I think she's the definition of like lacrosse is her life. Like this has been her dream for so long that I think she gets to the 20. Like I don't care what happens in her life between now and the 2028 Olympics. Like she puts herself there because she has a talent for it, and also like just that mindset that lacrosse is everything. So that's why she's a yes for me.
And she's only going to get better too. So
yeah, she still has so much room to grow.
We don't have any crazy analysis for that one. That's just an easy yes. Okay. Next up, we have defender, Maryland alum and current Athletes Unlimited professional Lizzie Colson. Okay, Karson.
No.
That's my answer, okay? Any thoughts on me having a no for Lizzie Colson?
I love her as a person.
Do you think I hate her? Is that why I said no?
No. I just can't say anything but yes, because I just love her so much. She's just so incredibly nice and sweet, and just a really, really cool person. So that's why I said yes, because she's really cool. But also because I watch all of her Instagram stories, and that girl is in the best shape I've ever seen anybody ever in my life. So, and I think her boyfriend's also a professional athlete. So like,
because that has relation to her going to the Olympics.
No, it does, because she's young. And so they've got in 5 years, like they're both on this path in their professional careers. Like she's young, or I think married, actually. I think her husband now. I think they're married. But I think that she's in like a 3 or 4 year difference than Marie McCool, like age wise, which is why she's a yes for me and Marie McCool's a no, because in 3 or 4 years, Marie McCool's 32. In 3 or 4 years, Lizzie Colson's like 28, which is the ideal time to have kids. So she could then go, in my opinion, not in world opinion, in my opinion.
We got a family therapist going on right now. Okay.
She could go win the Olympics and then have children, and it'd be perfect. I just see her whole life right now, so she's a yes for me. And I think she also is the epitome of a Sixers player because of her speed.
So I had a feeling we were going to disagree on. Well, actually, I knew we disagreed after you sent me your list, but everything you said, about her like being in great shape, and she also is pretty. I think she's doing lacrosse full time, if not close to full time.
Yeah,
she's doing a lot of camps and stuff as well. Where I disagree with you, I don't see her as Marie McCool. Marie McCool is both ways. Lizzie Colson is 90% defense. Yes, she can run the transition. I just think her game would have to evolve. I think she would either have to become a better scorer, or I'm not saying she's not a better passer, but when I think of her, I'm not saying she's a bad passer, but I don't think of like, oh, Kenzie Kent's passing ability when I think of Lizzie Colson. So I think she has to elevate her game in one of those two ways, because in sixes, I mean, obviously you want everyone to be a threat to score, but you don't have to be a bona fide scorer to be a threat to score. Because if you have Ellie, Masera, Izzy Skane, Charlotte Northwestern, if you have all these crazy scorers around you, they're going to get so much attention that it's going to leave other players open. Just because you're not the one or the two or the three option doesn't mean you're not a good option. So yeah. I think she just has to elevate her game in one of those two ways.
I used to be a midfielder in high school.
As you say, Karson, everyone used to be a midfielder in high school, okay?
Which is true. But I'm just saying, she's got it in her. She just didn't have to for 5 years.
I can tell. I'm not convincing Karson on this one, okay?
You won't. No, you won't. Lizzie Colson will be in the the Olympics. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it.
Okay, awesome. We have 2 more to go. Next up, we have Kenzie Kent. And Carson's answer is...
And I thought we might disagree on this one too, because I know that you love her so much. But I
do love Kenzie Kent.
But she's kind of the same thing for, like, that girl's like, she's in lacrosse, but she's not like in lacrosse. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like in 5 years, I feel like even like Marie McCool, I think, is closer to being in it than she is in 5 years, just because like this feels like Marie McCool's, like, U.S. lacrosse has just been her for so long and her identity. And like, I don't feel the same about Kenzie Kent, but also I don't know them really at all. So I'm kind of just making this up, and she doesn't give me gonna be playing lacrosse in 5-year vibes for some reason. And that's truly where I based my no off of. Like, I just don't get the long-term lacrosse commitment vibes from Kenzie Kent. Not that she couldn't do it, just that I don't think that she will.
I see where you're coming from with that. However, she was the assistant at Syracuse past few years. I believe she went back to Harvard. Is she an assistant there now?
I have no idea.
I believe. Let me look this up before, because I don't want to have to, come out with a correction after the podcast. I believe she went back to Harvard. But anyways, while I'm looking that up, yeah, she went back to Harvard, which is an odd move to go from Syracuse to Harvard. I mean, she's going back to Massachusetts, being closer with her family, I guess. But anyways, yeah. I agree with you that I don't get the vibes from her that lacrosse is everything. But just because someone doesn't put that out there doesn't mean that's not the reality. However, that's not why I don't have her. I don't have her because, yeah, she is a BC alum. So Kenzie Kent, I feel like I'm cheating on you right now by not having you on this team. Okay. And I would just say I don't have her on the team because she's not a defender in any way, shape, or form. Yes, attackers ride, but she's just not a defender. That she's very small, and you can be a small defender like Ellie Masera, but Ellie Masera is built. Ellie Masera is quick. If she gets beat, she can catch up. Kenzie Kent is quick, but she's quick, but I think she's more quick than fast. And so I would just say I just don't see her being a defender. Like, yeah, it was kind of similar when Megan Tyrell was on, and Emma Tyrell, who I absolutely adore both those players. They were on the Birmingham team, and it was just weird watching them play defense because they're both attackers. It just didn't look natural. Yeah. And even Swartz said that. She said the same thing. She's like, it just looked weird. Okay. So yeah, I don't see Kenzie Kent. So we both agree on Kenzie Kent.
Yeah.
And next up, we have... Is it my turn? I keep losing track. Is it...
Yeah, it's your turn. For the last one.
Okay, yes. Belle Smith. This one is an easy one for me, okay?
Yes.
I don't know how you think Belle Smith is a no. We talked about Marie McCool. Belle Smith is Marie McCool 2.0. Okay, she's Marie McCool born again. Okay, she is everything Marie McCool is. She is smooth. She's a badass. Okay, she is a beast. Okay, I don't know how you have a no to Belle Smith.
Yeah, again, I don't really have a lot of answers for you. I just don't get the vibes. But I do think that but I did just remember all of her brand deals. That did just come to my head. If I remembered the brand deals, I probably would have said yes. But she is a good two-way midi. I don't know.
Good, more like the best.
She kind of like tapered out, I feel like, at the end of last season. Like, she didn't show up in the same ways that she was showing up before. And anyway, that's why I said no. I feel like she was at the epitome of her career, like, not at the end.
She's got another year to play.
Well, then we'll see how she does.
Oh my. Karson,
I'm not saying she's bad. I'm just saying that I'm not sure to be still at the top of your career in 5 years is a long time.
Karson, if you look at Athletes Unlimited right now, who are some of the best players? They're two-way middies, okay? Marie McCool, Ali Mastriani, Johansson. She fits that mold. She doesn't do anything flashy, but she does it all at a very high level, okay?
I agree.
And
I think
she is just smooth as butter. Okay, whenever she's on that field, everything is just smooth. Everything she does, it looks fundamentally sound. It looks like it's 100% as a coach would tell you to do it. Okay, Belle Smith, come on, Karson, come on. I'm so disappointed.
Listen, we'll see. I have a lot of gut instinct, but I will see. We will see. I think that she could be. I'm not saying that. I mean, we're talking 5 years in the future here. Like, I don't have any sort of looking glass. I don't know, but
I do.
Then we'll see. Then I'm wrong, but I might be wrong. I'm not saying I don't have this with like conviction behind it, but I just think that she's by now.
Okay. Bonus before we move on to our final topic. Will there be a player that's currently in high school now on the Olympic team? Yes or no?
Oh, how many years is that? 4 or it's 5, so they'd be
5?
just.
So they could be a senior now and then play 4 years and then have just graduated.
Yeah, I think so. For sure. I don't know them. I don't know who they are because I don't know anybody's name, but I think you can hit yes for me. Yeah.
Yes.
That one, we got some more conviction on that one. Okay. Listen, I don't know him either, but I feel like if there was a 4th Humphrey sister, I would be like, yes.
Yeah. If there was another Humphrey, we'd be throwing the yes button down.
Okay, awesome. So moving on to our final topic, Northwestern versus the USA U20 team at the Fall Classic. And let me just make a quick note. So this was the USA U20 team. It's normally the USA national team. I think it was the USA U20 team just because they are preparing to go to Hong Kong next year for the U20 championships. So I'm thinking that's why it was them instead of the national team. But anyways, what were your thoughts on Northwestern versus USA U20?
I was shocked, to be honest. I thought Northwestern would clean up with them. Not like no offense to anybody on the U20 team, but like they just don't have any college experience. Like when you get to the college game, it's faster and they're stronger and it's quicker. And like there's so many things about it that are elevated that I was so surprised. But also at the same time, like I didn't think Northwestern looked at the top of their game. Like it's still fall ball. Like they probably have only been practicing for maybe 2 months, like maybe a month and a half at that point. So I think they weren't NCAA champion Northwestern out there on the field. They didn't look like that. Like so I was surprised, but like when I saw the final score before watching the game, I was very surprised. And then after watching it, it kind of makes sense to me. So that was kind of my initial reaction to everything, is that I think it was a really good game. It was really fun to watch. But after the first quarter was just not great by anybody.
Yeah, So it's interesting because Northwestern, they got out to a pretty decent lead in the start of the game. You're like, oh, they're just going to run away with it. And then that's not what happened at all. I wasn't, like you said, Northwestern wasn't at the top of their game. I think there are a few reasons for that. One, like you said, it's just a fall ball game. This is their first game. I believe it was their first fall ball game of the fall. And
Oh, wow.
even if it wasn't, I mean, they're coming off winning a national championship. They're coming off a Final Four run, and I just feel like it would be hard to get up for this, especially because on the other side for Team USA, this is their Super Bowl. I mean, they're playing people they've watched on TV for years. They're playing the national champions. Okay, it's easy for them to get up for this game versus for Northwestern, it's like, oh, we're scrimmaging a high school all-star team. And there were a few college, like Emma Pinto. I don't know how she's on the U20 team because didn't she just finish her junior year or something? I don't know how she's on the U20 team, but so there were a few college, like Madison Taylor was on the U20 team, but there were a lot of high school like rising freshmen, and even there was one defender that was guarding Izzy Skane at one point that's a senior in high school still. And I'm like,
yeah, the motivation was definitely staggering. Like there was definitely variation in the motivation between the two teams. And I think Northwestern like is so successful in their feeding, and like I actually started keeping track of assisted goals because in the first quarter there was 0, and then I was like, this is interesting because the U.S. was just bullying. Like Northwestern wasn't sliding, like and there was no slides being delivered. Like the U.S. was just bullying their way through them, and then Northwestern, I was like, there are so many times where like there's literally a hole in their stick. Like the ball just ran through it, like no one could catch anything, and I was like, this is crazy. And then they ended up getting like 7 assisted goals, Northwestern did, but they didn't have any in the first, and I don't think they had any in the fourth either, which I feel like is kind of where they fell apart. Like first quarter Northwestern was a lot like fourth quarter Northwestern, you know, and everything in between they looked really good, but to close it and to start it, I thought is where they struggled the most.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to put too much into Northwestern's performance because it's just a fall ball game.
Yeah.
And they didn't even have their head coach. They were going against her.
True.
And Molly La Liberty, that was probably, I mean, she just did not look very good. But it wasn't all her fault. Northwestern's one-on-one defense was really bad.
I thought so too.
Really
I was surprised by that.
So, I mean, Molly La Liberty kept getting put in tough positions. So I think, I mean, Northwestern, they'll bounce back. Also, I did want to give an update. Erin Kuykendall, so she went out with a shoulder injury, but she did return the next day and played against Navy, so she's fine. I have a question for you, though. Who did you think was the best player on the field?
I think this is gonna sound like a cop-out answer, but I do think that Izzy Skane was still the best player on the field because, I mean, she had 3 goals. I don't believe her that she couldn't go score at will. I don't believe her. Like she's so much stronger than those girls out there. She's so much faster. She's had 5 years of experience. Like I just simply don't believe her that she couldn't go score at will if she wanted. But I did think she was still the best player on the field because they were always looking for her. Like if Northwestern could connect on their feeds, they would have in the first and the fourth quarter. If they connected on those feeds, I think they would have cleaned up with them. And I think that a lot of times those girls were open because everyone's so worried about where Izzy Skane is and what she's doing. So I think even when she wasn't making an impact directly, she was still making an impact in like the positioning of the defense. They just weren't able to capitalize on it, would be my opinion, I think.
Fair opinion. I agree with you that she definitely could have been more aggressive. But if we're just going off the one game, not looking at the years of experience or what players could have done, just looking at what they did, I was blown away with Chloe Humphrey. Okay.
Oh, I was too. I think her with I was. I mean, I wrote down like 3 times in my notes because I didn't know who she was. So I was like, wow, number 2 is really good. And then like 4 times later, I was like, wow, that was really impressive by number 2. And then my last bullet point was like, ask David who number 2 is. I just kept noticing her. Like, I agree with you. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Oh no, you're fine. What amazed me as well was, as far as her scoring, she did it at all levels. She had that one bomb from deep off the bouncer, smoked it past Molly La Liberty. She did it from up close. She did it from the mid range. She was scoring. She had 5 goals. She had, I want to say, at least 1 assist. And she had some amazing stick work. I mean, I was just blown away. I thought she was far and away the best player on the field. And that's even with Izzy Skane, who obviously we both love, a friend of the show, I might add. Okay. I was just, my gosh, Chloe Humphrey is in, like, North Carolina. She's going to win a Tewaaraton at least once if she stays healthy.
I think that because she's not as recognizable to me also as I was watching, it's very possible I missed, like, I didn't know she had 5 goals either. It's very possible that I just wasn't, like, as locked into what she was doing. You know what I mean? Because she's not as recognizable yet. So that could be part of it. But also I agree with you because I feel like we said so many times last year, like, North Carolina doesn't have a scorer. They don't have a scorer. They don't have somebody that can go get the ball and score. So I'm really excited to see what she does at North Carolina because I think she could be that for them even as a freshman. I think that she could be that person. It's like, give me the ball. I'm going.
Yeah. I mean, she was winning one-on-ones like they were nothing.
Yeah, I know. She's just doing a little, like, shake and bake, and then girls were falling.
So and what's also interesting is that this is a Team US. So I didn't watch the Canada game when they played Canada in the Fall Classic, but this is a USA U20 team with a bunch of really good players. And it's always interesting to see who's going to emerge as the alpha in that group, or who's going to emerge as the one that just takes over. Because, I mean, Madison Taylor was on the team, and Emily Pinto was on that team. And the player that took over, Madison Taylor was great, don't get me wrong, but the player that took over that was doing the most was one of the players that had never played a college game in her life. Like, she's done fall ball, yes, but she's never played in like an actual college game. And that was Chloe Humphrey. I was blown away. One question I did have is that we'll have to wait until the spring to find out. It'll be interesting to see how North Carolina utilizes her because she was so good one-on-one, and she was going up against some seasoned defenders in Northwestern too. They only lost, I believe, one starting defender from last year's team.
Yeah.
And so it'll be interesting to see how North Carolina utilizes her because they're such a ball movement team. I think they're going to have to tweak it a little bit because she is so good one-on-one. And by her winning her one-on-ones, she's going to get shots for herself, but she's also going to draw doubles and slides and open up shots for other people. So it'll be interesting to see Jenny Levy's.
I bet they don't have to tweak it that much because if she plays like a high attacker position, like say she's on the wing or she's like up top more, and they do like a lot of moving, but if you put her in a position like that and you move the ball, because if she could get a defender on her who's sliding, like if they can draw somebody on the other side and cause like a slide in the defense, and if she catches the ball with a defender who's trying to recover, like she'll score every time. So I feel like their ball movement will actually be even more beneficial for her because she'll be able to dodge defenders who are trying to recover, which is even easier than dodging a defender who's staring at you, like waiting for you to dodge. So I feel like the ball movement of North Carolina might actually be super beneficial for her. If they have other people who can draw slides, that would be the thing will be is they have to have other people who can draw slides. And I mean, every year they figure it out. So I have no doubt that they will.
Yeah. Obviously, this is not the point of this episode, but it'll be interesting to see Carolina's attack because Ashley Humphrey did just announce she's graduating from Stanford this semester and then transferring to UNC after she graduates from Stanford. So, and I believe it was 2 years ago, she set the NCAA record for assists in a season. And so if you have her and Caitlin Wurzberger on attack, those are both feeders. And then
Put them well.
I think Marissa White and actually Marissa White might, I don't know. They have so many players. It'll be interesting to see. I feel like Chloe Humphrey's going to start at attack, but it'll be interesting to see. They're going to have to move someone to midfield.
Yeah.
Or at least like an offensive midfielder role, I would think. So.
Yeah, they could do like a line or something. I don't know, but yeah. I bet it's really fun to watch. I'm excited for her. She was very fun to watch in this, and this wasn't even like cohesive. Like there was nothing cohesive going on the field. I was like, no one has any idea where anybody is. No one has any clue what's happening. Like whoever pulls out this win is just going to be gritty because there's no cohesion going on.
Also, I'll end with this. I don't know if you saw the video that Northwestern posted. It was like a highlight video from the Fall Classic when it was husband versus wife, Kelly Monty Hiller. Oh yeah, coaching versus her husband, and the initial handshake was so funny. Kelly and Monty Hiller started turning away before they even shook hands. It was so great. It was amazing.
That is funny.
I'm gonna have to send that to you. It was great. It was so funny. It was icy. It was cold. Okay. It was
I guess you can do that. It's your husband. That's
For
funny.
sure. Awesome. So is there any final thoughts, as basically we focus this whole topic or this whole episode on the Olympics and Team USA? Any final thoughts from Miss America herself, Karson Harris, excuse me, Miss Pennsylvania herself, Karson Harris?
That's Pennsylvania. I don't even live there anymore. Yes. No, I don't have any other thoughts. I thought it was a fun game to watch. I'm excited for the Olympics in 5 years, and it was a fun episode.
Awesome. And then we will end with this. Are we excited for you to listen to this episode?
Yeah, baby.